My husband's family invited us to a vacation to reconnect, but when we arrived, they took his passport and whispered, "He's staying. You're leaving." My husband stood frozen. Smiling, I pulled out my own secret weapon. Minutes later, the police showed up and his family realized they had lost everything. I always knew my in-laws hated me. They tolerated me for the first few years, sure. When Liam and I got married, they smiled for the pictures, said the right things, and even pretended to accept that their son had chosen an independent, non-traditional wife. But underneath it all, I knew the truth. They thought I was a mistake. They thought I had stolen him away. And most of all, they thought that one day, he'd come to his senses and leave me. Well, that didn't happen. And when they finally realized Liam wasn't coming back to the life they wanted for him, they decided to take matters into their own hands. And that's how I ended up in a remote house in Turkey, watching my husband's mother smile as she said, "He's staying. You're leaving." And how, less than an hour later, the police were dragging her out of the house in handcuffs. But let me back up. A few months ago, my mother-in-law reached out. She suggested a family vacation to reconnect. That alone was suspicious. Liam hadn't been close to them in years. His decision to move to the US wasn't just about opportunities, it was an escape. His family was controlling, and when he refused an arranged marriage and married me instead, they saw it as a betrayal. So when they suddenly wanted to fix things, yeah, I wasn't buying it. But Liam, bless his heart, wanted to believe them. He wanted to believe that his mother was trying. He thought maybe, just maybe, his family had finally accepted that this was his life now. So, against my better judgment, I agreed. We flew to Antalya, Turkey, and arrived at their vacation home. At first, everything seemed normal. Suspiciously normal. His parents were friendly, his brothers were polite, and his mother kept making over-the-top comments about how she was so happy we were here. I knew something was coming. I just didn't know when. Turns out, it was the next morning. I woke up early. Liam was still asleep next to me. Something felt off. I couldn't put my finger on it, but the air felt different. I got out of bed and instinctively checked our bag. It was where we left it, but one thing was missing. Liam's passport. I felt a rush of cold panic. I tore through the rest of our things, but I already knew. His passport was gone. My stomach dropped. I shook Liam awake. He was groggy at first, but when he saw my face, he knew something was wrong. "Your passport," I whispered. "It's gone." That woke him up fast. We searched the whole room. Then the rest of the house. Nothing. That's when his older brother stepped into the room, smirking. "He's staying. You're leaving." I felt my heartbeat in my ears. Liam stood frozen. "What?" His brother shrugged, like this was completely normal. Mom and Dad decided, "This is what's best for you." My mother-in-law stepped forward, all fake warmth and calmness. "It's for the best, sweetheart. We already booked her a flight back. She leaves tonight." Liam finally found his voice. "Where's my passport?" His father walked in, arms crossed. "Somewhere safe." I looked at Liam, hoping to see anger, but I saw shock instead. He wasn't reacting. He was just standing there. They had blindsided him. He never thought they would actually do this. But I did. His mother sighed and sat down on the couch like she was some kind of queen. "We know you'll be upset, but this is how it has to be. You don't belong in America. That's not your home. This is." She turned to me with an almost pitying look. "We understand this is hard for you. You can cry if you want. But there's nothing you can do. It's already done." That's when it clicked. They actually thought I was powerless. They thought I'd scream, cry, beg. They thought I'd run out, try to call the embassy, and struggle to get help in a country where I had no connections. But they didn't know me at all. I took a deep breath. And then? I smiled. "You know," I said, "I figured something like this might happen." I pulled out my phone. My mother-in-law's face twitched for the first time. "What are you doing?" "Just making a call." I dialed. There were two things my in-laws didn't know. One, before we left, I had already contacted the US Embassy and flagged Liam's passport. If it was reported missing, or if we didn't check in, the authorities would be notified immediately. Two, I had a lawyer on standby in the US, ready to act if anything happened. I put the phone on speaker. A crisp voice answered. "US Embassy, Istanbul." My mother-in-law went pale. "Hi," I said cheerfully. "My husband's passport has been stolen. We're at address." I believe his family is trying to detain him against his will. The person on the other end didn't even hesitate. "Understood. We are dispatching law enforcement now. Stay where you are." My mother-in-law lunged for my phone. Liam blocked her. "Don't even try." It took less than 10 minutes. I don't know who arrived first, the Turkish police or the embassy contact, but suddenly, our quiet little hostage situation turned into a full-blown legal disaster for my in-laws. Police swarmed the house. An embassy official pulled Liam aside to confirm his identity. When he said he wanted to leave, that was all they needed. Then came the fun part. One of the officers turned to my father-in-law. "Where's his passport?" Silence. "Sir, do you understand that withholding someone's passport is illegal?" Still silence. Liam's mother started crying. His father started yelling. His brothers tried to argue. It didn't matter. Because guess what? While the police were dealing with them, my lawyer back home, he was already ruining their lives. Liam was still in shock. He stood there, frozen, as the police questioned his parents. His mother was crying, acting like she was the victim. His father refused to say anything. His brothers were pacing, whispering to each other like they could somehow talk their way out of this. Me? I was calm, because I knew this wasn't over. The police had already confirmed that withholding a passport was illegal. But I knew Liam's family had planned more than just taking his passport. There was something bigger going on. And I had a bad feeling it wasn't just about keeping him in Turkey. The problem was, Liam still wasn't reacting. Even as the officers asked if he wanted to leave, he hesitated. I could see it all over his face, years of guilt, manipulation, and family pressure weighing him down. His mother saw it too. And that's when she played her final card. "Liam, please." His mother turned to him, voice soft, eyes red from fake tears. "We did this for you. You don't see it now, but one day you'll understand." Liam clenched his jaw. "You've been brainwashed, son." His father finally spoke, voice cold. "This isn't you. This is her." And there it was. The thing they had been trying to do all along. They weren't just trying to keep him in Turkey. They were trying to turn him against me. I held my breath. Because this was the moment. Liam had spent his whole life trying to be the good son. Trying to make them proud. Even when they treated him like a possession instead of a person, he still wanted to believe they cared. And now, with the police watching, with the embassy involved, they were forcing him to choose. "She's lying to you," his mother whispered. "Look at what she's doing to our family. Do you really think she loves you? Or is she just using you?" I didn't say anything. I just watched. Waited. And then, finally, Liam took a deep breath and made his choice. "You took my passport." His voice was low, shaking. His father folded his arms. "For your own good." Liam looked around. At the officers. At the embassy official. At me. Then back at his family. "You took my passport," he repeated, louder this time. "You lied to me. You tried to force me to stay here. And you're blaming my wife." His mother reached for him. "Liam," he stepped back. And in that moment, I saw something change in him. Something I had been waiting to see for years. Liam finally stopped being afraid of them. "I love her," he said, voice steady. "I'm leaving. And you will never, ever control me again." I swear, his mother collapsed into herself. His father's face turned red. His brothers looked like they wanted to break something. But it didn't matter. Because the police had heard enough. The officers ordered his parents to hand over the passport. At first, they refused. His father stormed upstairs, slammed a door, and started yelling on the phone. His mother kept sobbing, saying things about losing her son forever. His brothers kept trying to argue, claiming it was a family matter and that the police shouldn't be involved. None of it worked. Because here's the thing. Someone had already tipped off the authorities about their plans. And I knew exactly who it was. As we waited, my phone buzzed. I checked the message. It was from my lawyer in the US. "We found something. It's bad. Get Liam out of there now." My stomach dropped. I looked at Liam. "We need to leave. Now." But it was too late. Because suddenly, the power cut out. And the front door slammed shut. Total darkness. The only light came from the officers' flashlights. For a second, no one moved. Then one of the officers cursed under his breath and reached for his radio. No signal. His mother's voice cut through the silence. "You should have listened, Liam." I felt my blood go cold. Then bang. Something heavy crashed upstairs. Footsteps. Fast. Loud. His father. His brothers. They weren't done. They weren't going to let us leave. And in that moment, standing in the pitch-black house, trapped with people who were willing to do anything to keep Liam under their control, I realized something terrifying. This wasn't just about keeping Liam in Turkey. They had planned for this. And we were in serious danger. Everything happened at once. A flashlight flickered. Heavy footsteps pounded down the stairs. The front door wouldn't budge. The air was thick, tense, like the moment right before a car crash. Liam grabbed my wrist. "Stay close," he whispered. I already was. Because I knew one thing for sure. This wasn't just about the passport anymore. His family had planned something bigger. I could hear his brothers whispering in the dark. Low, fast, urgent. I could hear his father yelling from somewhere upstairs. I could hear his mother breathing, slow and steady, like she wasn't scared at all. Like she knew exactly what was coming next. The officers tried their radios again. Still nothing. Then a loud metallic click. The back door. Unlocked. Open. And someone was coming inside. Liam's mother didn't flinch. Didn't move. But I knew. She had been stalling. They hadn't just locked us in, they were waiting for someone. And now, whoever they had called was here. I could barely make out the shape of a man stepping inside. He wasn't one of Liam's brothers. He was bigger. Older. A stranger. He spoke in Turkish. Fast. Sharp. The officers immediately turned toward him, hands near their belts. Liam squeezed my hand. Who is that? I whispered. His grip tightened. My uncle. I knew about him. He wasn't just some distant relative, he was connected. The kind of man who had friends in high places. The kind of man who could make problems disappear. The kind of man they had probably called to fix this. The uncle took a slow step forward. And then another. His voice was calm when he spoke. But there was an edge to it, something dangerous lurking just beneath the surface. This has gone far enough, he said in Turkish. The officers didn't move. Let's be reasonable. This is a family matter. No need to escalate things. I could feel Liam shaking next to me. His mother was watching him, waiting. Because this was the final trick. If Liam agreed, if he backed down, they'd win. No one would stop them from taking his passport. No one would force them to let him leave. The embassy wouldn't be able to do anything if Liam said he wanted to stay. And they knew it. His uncle's eyes flicked to me. Calculated. Your wife doesn't belong here. I kept my face blank. I knew better than to react. She will leave. You will stay. Silence. Then, Liam stepped forward. No. It was quiet. Small. But it was enough. His uncle's face darkened. Liam took another step. His voice stronger this time. I said no. His father started shouting. His brothers started moving. And then, before anyone could do anything else, a loud, blaring siren split the air. Flashlights cut through the windows. Someone outside was shouting. And just like that, the entire house flipped into chaos. Liam's uncle cursed under his breath. His mother's face collapsed into pure panic. His father started yelling at the officers, trying to talk his way out of it. But the police didn't care. Because they weren't the only ones here anymore. Through the window, I saw them. The gendarmerie. The Turkish military police. And right at the front, stepping out of a sleek, unmarked car, the U.S. Embassy representative. My backup had arrived. Here's what Liam's family didn't realize. They weren't just dealing with local cops anymore. By trying to detain a U.S. citizen, by involving his uncle, by cutting the power, by blocking the officers from leaving, they had escalated it. And now? Now they weren't just facing legal trouble. Now they were facing international consequences. I turned to Liam. We're leaving. Now. But his uncle wasn't done yet. Because just as we turned for the door, he reached for his waistband. And I saw the glint of metal. Everything slowed down. Liam's uncle reached for his waistband. The glint of metal flashed under the dim emergency lighting. A gun. Someone shouted, one of the gendarmerie officers. More shouting, in Turkish, fast and sharp. Hands up. The officers drew their weapons. I grabbed Liam's arm, pulling him back. His uncle froze. The room was pure chaos, Liam's father yelling, his mother sobbing, his brothers pressed against the wall, eyes darting between the armed police and their uncle. Do not move, an officer barked. For a second, his uncle hesitated. I saw it in his eyes, he was considering his odds. Then, slowly, he raised his hands. A gendarmerie officer moved in, grabbed his arms, yanked him to the floor. The clatter of the gun hitting the tile was deafening. His mother screamed. His father lunged forward, but two officers grabbed him, forcing him down beside his brother. And just like that, it was over. The gendarmerie took over the house. Liam and I were rushed outside, escorted by embassy officials and heavily armed officers. His family? They were stuck inside, arguing, yelling, pleading. But it didn't matter anymore. They had crossed too many lines. Illegal detention. Theft of a passport. Attempted assault with a weapon. The embassy rep turned to us. Are you okay? I nodded. I wasn't. Not even close. But Liam? He was staring at the house. Silent. Expressionless. And I realized something. This was the last time he would ever see them. The embassy rushed us to a secure hotel. They expedited an emergency passport for Liam. Our flight was booked for the next day. Everything was moving forward. But Liam? Liam was breaking apart. We sat in the hotel room, silent for the longest time. Then, Finally, he spoke. They were never going to let me go. His voice was hollow. Not really. I didn't know what to say. He ran a hand down his face. I wanted to believe they could change. But they never saw me as a person. Just as something they owned. His voice cracked on the last word. And I felt my heart shatter for him. He wasn't just losing his family. He was realizing they had never really been his family at all. The next morning, we left Turkey. We flew home, exhausted, drained, forever changed. But Liam's family? They didn't get off so easily. His uncle was charged with attempted assault and unlawful possession of a firearm. His father was arrested for fraud, tax evasion, and false imprisonment. His mother pleaded for mercy, but her role in taking Liam's passport meant she was banned from entering the US ever again. Their businesses collapsed. Without Liam's father, without their access to US investors, they lost everything. Liam never spoke to them again. They tried. Oh, they tried. Messages, voicemails, letters, even calls from relatives who suddenly wanted to mediate. He ignored them all. Because he finally understood something. They were never his family. Not really. One night, months later, we sat on our balcony, overlooking our quiet little street. Liam sighed. Do you think they regret it? I thought about it. About his mother's desperate sobbing, his father's furious denial, his uncle's violent arrogance. No. Because people like that? They don't change. They just hate the fact that they lost. Liam nodded, staring out at the sky. Then he turned to me, a small, sad smile on his lips. Thank you for saving me. I squeezed his hand. You saved yourself. And for the first time in a long time, he believed it.